What if I told you that 2,000 years before the famous Silk Road existed, the Philippines controlled the most extensive prehistoric trade network in the world? What if Filipino craftsmen processed jade from Taiwan and sold it across Asia, creating a maritime empire that stretched from Thailand to Vietnam, from Malaysia to Cambodia? For 3,000 years, from 2000 BC to 1000 AD, the Philippines was the manufacturing center of the Maritime Jade Road, the single most important prehistoric trade network of any geological material on Earth. Scientists have traced thousands of jade artifacts found across Southeast Asia back to workshops in the Philippines. This wasn't just trade. This was economic dominance. This was wealth. This was power. And China wasn't the center. The Philippines was. By the end of this video, you're going to understand that ancient Filipinos weren't just skilled sailors. They were master craftsmen who controlled a luxury goods trade that made them richer and more powerful than any neighboring civilization. And nobody taught you this in school. Stay with me. Our goal on this video is get 500 likes. And share your reaction on comments, subscribe to channel, turn on notification. Because we're about to reveal 3,000 years of suppressed economic history. Let me start with a discovery that shocked the archaeological world. In 2007, researchers from the Australian National University, led by Dr. Hung Xiao Chun, published a groundbreaking study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, one of the most prestigious scientific journals in the world. They used electron probe microanalysis to examine 144 jade artifacts from museums and archaeological sites across Southeast Asia. These weren't random pieces. These were carefully selected jade ornaments that had been excavated from sites in Taiwan, the Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, and Cambodia. The artifacts dated from 3000 BC all the way through 500 AD, a span of 3,500 years. The researchers analyzed the chemical composition of each piece, measuring the exact ratios of iron, magnesium, silicon, and other elements. And what they discovered rewrote our understanding of prehistoric Asian trade. Out of 144 artifacts tested, 116 of them, over 80%, came from a single source, Fengtian in eastern Taiwan. But here's the crucial detail. The jade wasn't just mined in Taiwan. It was shipped to the Philippines, where master craftsmen transformed raw jade into finished luxury goods. And those Philippine-made jade ornaments were then exported across thousands of miles to customers all over Southeast Asia. The Philippines wasn't just part of a trade network. The Philippines was the manufacturing hub, the economic center, the power player that controlled production and distribution of the most valuable luxury material in prehistoric Asia. Now let me explain what jade meant in the ancient world, because understanding the value of jade is essential to understanding the wealth and power it brought to the Philippines. Jade isn't just pretty green stone. In ancient Asian cultures, jade was the ultimate status symbol. It was harder than bronze. It was more valuable than gold. It was believed to have spiritual and protective properties. Owning jade meant you were wealthy. It meant you had connections to distant trade networks. It meant you had status and power. Jade ornaments weren't things common people could afford. These were luxury goods for the elite, chiefs, nobles, wealthy merchants, and royalty. The most sought-after jade artifacts were ear ornaments, specifically two types: the lingling-o, a penannular earring with three pointed projections, and double-headed animal pendants. These weren't simple designs. Creating them required incredible skill. You had to cut raw jade into precise shapes using only stone tools. You had to drill holes using bamboo drills and sand. You had to polish and finish the surface until it achieved that translucent green glow that made jade so desirable. This was specialized craftsmanship that took years to master. And the Philippines had workshops that produced thousands of these ornaments. Let me describe the scale of this operation because it's absolutely mind-blowing. Archaeological excavations in the Philippines have found not just finished jade ornaments, but manufacturing debris, cut blanks, drilled-out cores, polishing waste, broken pieces from mistakes. In Batangas province alone, tens of thousands of jade pieces have been recovered. Tens of thousands. That's not artisanal craft production. That's industrial-scale manufacturing for export. Sites in the Batanes Islands in northern Philippines show evidence of major jade processing workshops. The Cagayan Valley, Palawan Islands, Tabon Caves. These weren't random locations. These were coordinated production centers as part of an organized trade network. Here's how the system worked. Raw nephrite jade was mined in Fengtian, eastern Taiwan. Some of it was worked into finished goods right there in Taiwan. Taiwan had its own jade industry, especially during the period 1500 to 300 BC, when production reached its peak. But significant quantities of raw Taiwan jade were exported to the Philippines. Filipino craftsmen would receive blocks of unworked jade and transform them into finished products. The evidence for this is overwhelming. When archaeologists found manufacturing debris, the waste material left over from cutting and shaping jade, they found it in Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam, not just in Taiwan. Dr. Hung Xiao-chun, the lead researcher, explained, Fengtian jade was shipped to these workshops in Southeast Asia, which dated from 500 BC to 100 AD. They were very small, and they churned out these ornaments that were then exported to other places. And here's what's really remarkable. The products made in different countries were stylistically very similar. That means there was knowledge transfer. There were shared manufacturing techniques. There was coordination across this network. This wasn't just random trade. This was an organized system with quality control, standardized products, and reliable distribution channels. In other words, this was a sophisticated economy. The Maritime Jade Road, as this network is now called by historians, existed for 3,000 years, from approximately 2000 BC to 1000 AD. Let me put that time frame in perspective. The famous Silk Road, which everyone learns about in history class, existed from roughly 130 BC to 1450 AD. That's about 1,600 years. The Maritime Jade Road existed for 3,000 years, nearly twice as long as the Silk Road, and it was operating for almost 2,000 years before the Silk Road even began. During its peak period, from 2000 BC to 500 AD, the Maritime Jade Road was the single most extensive prehistoric trade network of any geological material in the world. That's not me exaggerating. That's what the scientific literature says. This network covered a 3,000-kilometer diameter area around the South China Sea. That's roughly the distance from Paris to Moscow. The jade trade connected Taiwan and the Philippines with Vietnam, Malaysia, including Borneo and Sarawak, Thailand, Cambodia, and Singapore. Thousands upon thousands of jade artifacts from this network have been recovered from archaeological sites across this entire region. They continue in the next video.